That's right, guys. Our G Fuel flavor Angry Army Ammunition AAA is now live for the wait list. It's puts you on the pre-orders for launching on the 19th. Thank you to G Fuel. Thank you for all you guys supporting us over the years to get us our own G Fuel flavor. So that's exciting news. Hopefully you support us. Also, in exciting news, we have a good episode of The Mandalorian. Holy shit. Gotta admit, great episode. Great episode.
I got a little excited, but I was reading too far into something else, but it wasn't what I expected.
This one?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. No, and same for me. You know, I expected the karate tournament or whatever. I expected Gideon to be saved by his own Mandalorians. Turned out to be Imperials.
Did.
This is, really, really awesome. And frankly, just a little too late. It feels like this should have been episode 3. It should have been fucking 5. I'd even, frankly, it should have been 2.
I think it should have been like the middle point, because that's where you're at the lowest point. You capture your hero. You got to go in and rescue him. And now we only have one more episode. You got to rush all that.
Individually, an amazing episode, but in context, kind of a shame that we're getting it now instead of then. But God, I will give praise where praise due, and this one does deserve praise. I thought overall it was an excellent episode. Got to the point. We know what's kind of going on now. We know what Gideon has been doing sort of behind the scenes. We've come to conflict. We've got the Mandos together with a singular purpose, fighting the Gideon faction of the Imperial Remnant. And surprisingly, Grogu gets quite a unique machine here and trying to solve 2 problems at once creatively. I thought I would hate it. I'm not sure how I feel about it quite yet, but I think it is creative. I think it's a clever way to get him talking. It's a clever way to, not have him walking like a little potato. And contributing as an equal of stature at the same height of everybody else at the very least. So thought it was creative. And I enjoyed the episode. But like I said, even if we're running at 9-10 territory, it might be a little too late to save the season overall. But I am very much looking forward to the next episode, and that's ultimately what you ask for and what you need in these. What did you think, Alex?
I agree with you completely. I think this was a really excellent episode, and this episode is the reason I was disappointed with so much of the rest of the season, because this show has constantly shown us that you can have fun with it, you can do silly things, you can do creative things, but you can also have compelling stuff happen. And this episode wasn't perfect. I don't think this episode was a 10 out of 10. I had some small issues with stuff, but it was still really enjoyable. I didn't know I wanted to see Mad Max Mandalorians, and I got to see it, and there's all this cool stuff happening. We're getting to the point. And so this is just we're kind of back to form, but like you mentioned, in context, it's kind of sad, because after next episode, what are we going to wait, 2 years before we get another, 8 episodes? Some of them 20 minutes long. How many of them are going to be with Jack Black? Will Ferrell's going to be in one, right? Will Ferrell, the Jedi who survived Order 69, and him and John C. Reilly are going to do a techno. What the fuck are they going to do in 2 years to continue to shit the bed? It's This episode's great. It just reminds me of some of the problems with this season.
Yeah, as this episode, I loved it. I loved seeing all the various types of Mandos that were there. Just the action scene, and I guess how Moff Gideon got into the lightsaber. So we find that out for protection and everything. I like the story, but at the end of the day, I'm just like, too little, too late.
Too late.
I'm not looking forward to season 4, because they're gonna try to do a lot of fillers like it did this one. And whose episode is it gonna be, or whose season is it gonna be?
The producer was came out and said that the Mandalorian title applies to not only Din Djarin, but others.
Yeah, so
he's proud of that. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that these trends will continue. I think maybe, hopefully, Disney, Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, Kathleen Kennedy is a little surprised by the downward trend of viewership and the negative reception that the season overall has had so far. So hopefully they take that into account, because John is in the middle of writing and all this. So it doesn't necessarily set in stone like it seems to be you think it is. And I hope that he hires.
I hope so too, but like you said before,
writers.
like they don't really have a plan. They're just spinning their wheels. So
Yeah.
that's what we're worried
It
about.
seems now, after the announcement at Star Wars Celebration 2023, that there is a plan, and that all of these storylines and threads will culminate in Dave Filoni's live-action movie, his first ever. Though I think Dave Filoni actually already directed the worst-performing Star Wars film ever to release theatrically, if I'm not mistaken. It was a Clone Wars animated thing that actually came out in theaters that everybody kind of sweeps under the rug. But I think he'll do much, much better this time around. I'll check to see if he actually directed that.
Do you think that Pedro's going to stick around? I mean, he's the new hotness. He's in absolutely everything. He can command. He can do anything that he wants. And I know he hasn't been super happy with some of the things that went along with the Mandalorian reportedly.
I don't believe a lot of those reports. I think you'd have to ask him. I think he's fine. I don't think that drama is really as what people have made it up to be. Yeah, it was directed by Dave Filoni, screenplay by Henry Gilroy. But that is definitely an interesting conversation that we can have, especially after the season concludes. We'll see exactly where does Din Djarin's story end up.
If he's not under contract, and this is a show about all of the Mandalorians, and it's not just about Jin, like they can just make him go away. Now, for this episode, what did you guys think of how the action was shot?
I thought it was great, man. That final battle between these Beskar armored troopers and the Mandalorians, I thought it was fantastic. Plenty of Mandos, really cool armor, great effects. And I wanted to see some fleet battles. I'm sure we'll see that in the next episode because Gideon is launching his fighters and his bombers to the Mandalorian fleet in orbit. So I liked it very much so. God damn, man. Hey. So we'll go into the episode breakdown. There's a lot here to chew on. Some cameos, some information dumps and reveals. But we now have a collective story purpose. Gideon has been secretly mining Beskar on the surface. Maybe that's why he's been spreading rumors that Mandalore is uninhabitable, things like that. There are some plot contrivances and conveniences, like Alex said, that is very difficult to put two and two together. How the scavenger Mandalorians just show up at the right time, how they've never run into the Imperial remnants, how a monster, pops up right at the right moment. It seems monster of the week, kind of thing that drives them further where they need to go. Sometimes that pacing takes over. And this was a little bit longer episode. I'm thankful for that. It's not your 20, 30 minute. It's more than the 50 range, and we need a lot more of that.
Yeah, I think it was like 53, but that doesn't include the intro and recap and all that.
And then finally, we do get a glorious character death that, I feel a little bit like Favreau was like, I want to be sacrificed. I want to go out cool. But I felt like, is it actually necessary to do this? And that's fine. I can get past whether it's necessary or not. But if you're going to film it, you have to film it in a particular way. And I felt like this way that Paz Vizsla's death here, sacrifice, glorious, heroic death, could have been filmed slightly better to where it makes a little more sense.
Yeah, I didn't think the action was shot.
He didn't need to die.
No.
I didn't think the action in this episode was shot. It wasn't bad. It was really cool stuff happening on paper, the way they're describing all this stuff.
Well, I'm talking about the firefights. That's what I was talking about. Are you talking about the close combat between the Royal Guards?
I think that when the
or do you mean everything?
I mean everything. I think it was super awkward. Like when the Beskar troopers are like kind of hanging out in the sky, and like I just didn't think.
I disagree.
I didn't think it was set up in a way that I felt like there was a whole lot of tension. Yeah. And it's hard to have tension when you're both wearing like indestructible armor, and only sometimes sometimes does stuff seem to go through. And then the main problem I had was, I played a lot of D&D, and when the DM wants to have his insert character come in, have a glorious
that's
death,
what I was talking
and it's
about.
totally
It's like,
fucking unnecessary, and it's like, dude, you have to film it.
Cool episode.
If you're gonna do it, you have to nail it, and I don't think they came anywhere close to nailing it, and it just felt super awkward.
I agree with that. We've got multiple factions. We've got Gideon's motivations, and then finally we see a little bit of the Imperial remnants, this Dark Council, I believe they're Shadow Council, I think they're calling it. One warlord is like, Thrawn is coming, everybody prepare yourself. Gideon's like, ugh, where's this Thrawn?
You've been saying this for how many years
Produce
now?
this Thrawn, and Gideon is making his play. Oh, man, if Gideon and Thrawn are in the same room, motherfucking Gideon is dead, and I'm kind of excited for that potential. I know maybe Gideon should fall by Bo's hands or Din's hands or Grogu's hands or something, but it might be really cool to see Thrawn just wipe the floor with all of his rivals as he returns, and Gideon would be a good stepping stone for that. But he is making his play, and his play is somewhat cool, believable. Beskar troopers, their replacement. I kind of hit on this. Well, I didn't get it right with my, the Mandalorians would work for him. They never would work for him. That was one thing that I was like, please don't do, because it's like, why would you be loyal to a person that glassed your whole fucking planet? Instead,
I thought he
is doing replacements for the Dark Troopers when I was like, man, all my Dark Troopers were destroyed. What am I going to do? I said in the last episode, and he's like, here's what we're doing. We're replacing them.
This is why I kind of got excited, because like whenever he first pops out, he's got the Darth Maul helmet, he's got the spikes, and I was looking online, and it was like they're like the Mandalorian super commandos. They're like
there were rumors of super commandos that was in the leaks.
Yeah, it was by Darth Maul. I was like, that would be pretty fucking sweet.
It would if they were loyal to Darth Maul, or they were the faction loyal to Darth Maul. But Darth Maul is dead at this point. Killed by Obi-Wan Kenobi. So it's not going anywhere. They have a new person to play.
I know, like I said, like whenever he came out, I was like, that's a pretty cool armor suit.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like.
And it was inspired by the Death Watch Maul side. And we actually learned that the armor could still, in fact, be this Rook character that was a part of the Death Watch. And the Death Watch started warring among themselves, and they're no longer the these super Maul commandos, whatever. Mm-hmm. So, anyways, episode 7 returns to greatness. Perhaps too little too late, but we will still praise it for doing what we wanted it to do from the very beginning. So let's go ahead and give final verdicts for this episode, not for the season.
I'm going to give this an 8. It was a good watch. I enjoyed it. It was longer than most of them, so that's always a plus in my book. Mm-hmm. I didn't like the glorious death. I was like, that felt it didn't need to happen. It could have happened like next episode or something in a better situation, but this situation, it just didn't feel genuine.
Right.
I liked the acting.
Even though it was cool as fuck. And I wanted it to be filmed better.
I can't wait to see next week's episode because of the little cliffhanger that we got. Our hero's been captured. What are we going to do? And obviously there's going to be a dogfight with the ambush that's about to happen. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I agree. I really like this one. I think that there's some awkwardness in some of it, but I'll accept that because I think that things are happening, things are finally moving. This episode feels like it belongs in this season, and so I'm also going to give it an 8. I think that there's some storylines that wrapped up. Like people were wondering for a long time. It's like, what the hell's the point of this whole cloning guy getting his mind wiped? What was that? And you find out it's a giant backstab. Moff is purposely sabotaging other leaders of like the Dark Cabal, and he's like, I don't want your fucking cloning thing to work.
Hey, what happened to your cloning?
Oh,
thing?
It didn't work because I don't want you to take over because you could be posturing, and I want to be
imperial.
And it's so cool. So it's like when we have competent bad guys, the show feels good, and when we have competent good guys, it feels. And that's the problem. I really don't like that fucking end thing. It's like you're an idiot. You're a fucking idiot. Oh, the last death. It's like there's
That was dumb.
You can film it
The
in a way that
door,
works.
fucking, just get behind that door. That's fucking bulletproof. God damn it, why'd you have to film it like that?
Yeah.
Press the button, get the fuck out.
But I think I'm so glad they're back to form. I can't wait to see what they film for the next one.
One more.
And I'm excited to see.
Yes, I am right there with you guys. I think it deserves an 8, but I'm going to give it a 9 just because I have been fucking really deprived of the goddamn, definitely a curve here, deprived of the good Mandalorian, and so I think these final 2 episodes are going to fucking nail it. At least I hope so. This final episode, I think, is going to be as good, if not better, than this one, at least I hope. Is it going to completely redeem the entire season? I'm sorry. It doesn't reverse some of the filler in an 8-episode season with short episodes. It just doesn't. And in fact, a lot of this might have been helped if we would have reordered some of it, if we would have had more appropriate casting here and there, and then lengthen some of the episodes, and then get to the point a little bit sooner with a reorder could have helped a lot. But we'll talk about that when we get to the final episode. Anyways, so 9 out of 10 from me, and I am very much excited for the final episode. Man, but you really pissed off the fans. The fans are right now upset with that last episode. Can this stop the bleeding a little bit? I think it is gonna put a patch, but there's still some squirting going on here. We're gonna have to see how this ends up. Anyways, let's go ahead and go into the episode breakdown. So, we get extremely cool visuals, guys. I think why I rate a little higher is because this is George Lucas's Underworld, man. You remember this project? He wrote all the scripts, and he was like, "This, it's just too expensive to produce right now." That was about 15 years ago, and it's really cool to see the Star Wars alleys on Coruscant come to life in this wheel. Very Blade Runner-esque.
Yes.
Very, very cool. I love this when we get to explore this a little more. Kane reports to Gideon. Kane, is that her name? Fuck, I don't know what her fucking name is. And we finally see Gideon. So that was a lie. They tuned in it the whole fucking time. It's the final 2 episodes. I think we predicted that, actually, at some point. We learned that the pirates were her plot, destabilizing the region. She tells him that they fucked up their plot. The Mandalorians fucked it up. He's like, what?
It's like, what?
The
Thought they were on
hell?
the New Republic. It's like, they're not. It was the Mandos.
Right. He's like, I'll handle it. And then he walks by a bunch of commando mandos and red force fields. At least that's what I thought they were. They are Imperial troopers, now called Dark Troopers. Just a new version with human beings inside. Well, beings inside. They could be aliens, too, with Beskar armor. And we also see some VATs. I don't know if this is hinting at just the super soldier stuff, or we're talking about cloning and
Palpatine.
yeah. I mean, cloning is a part of Star Wars with the whole fucking clone army, but
I think he's trying to extract Jedi powers. He mentions that when he's monologuing, he's like, "Look, I'm taking the best from everyone. I'm taking the Beskar from the Mandalorians, the Jedi with their powers." And so if that's why he wanted Grogu, he's trying to inject midichlorians.
That's still in development.
Yeah, we'll see.
And maybe that'll tie into Grogu some more too. So a meeting of Imperial remnant warlords here. What happens here, Alex?
There's a lot of posturing. There's one warlord that's doing really, really well as far as his raids, and they're like, "Look, man, you're drawing way too much attention. It's great that you're stealing so much money, but you need to calm the fuck down."
Yeah,
Hux,
love it.
Hux, you're working on Project Necromancer.
I can't believe we get a cameo from Commandant Hux.
Yeah,
Huxley.
Yeah, and he's a necromancer
on Project Necromancer.
Yeah,
so on the nose, a little too much here. Yeah. I guess he's the one in charge of Snoke cloning the Emperor and shit. So on the nose. And also, I noticed they had no problem recasting young Hux. Yeah. Maybe have no problem recasting young Luke, so that we don't have to look at a CGI inhuman being. We can get Sebastian.
I was going to say Sebastian. That looks pretty spot on.
So if you're gonna recast young Hux, let's open the door a little bit. And Alex, I know you were very uncomfortable because this is touching the toes and feetsies of the First Order.
Somehow
And
the Emperor has returned. We
somehow
did
the
it.
literally
It's
the worst line,
alive.
the worst line in Star Wars that Disney created. It appears as if they're gonna do a Dave Filoni thing where I will try my best to fix it, And it's unfortunate, and I don't envy Dave, but it's Kathleen. That is 100% Kathleen's fault, and somebody's got to fix it.
Sometimes you burn the roast, you throw it out, and you start over
Yeah,
new
you gotta throw it
sandwiches.
out.
Because like there's some
We're
some
doubling
mistakes-
down, Alex.
Yeah, I know. There's some mistakes that aren't worth fixing, and it's like I would rather them just brush it under the rug and not mention it anymore than
They're
remind me
doubling
of
down.
the stink. It's like House of the Dragon. It's like the Song of Ice and Fire. The thing that went nowhere. Stop bringing it up, and we will like what you've got now. But it's not helping your show.
Yeah.
I agree. It's pure fucking hubris.
It doesn't sell toys. I don't know why you're doing it.
Then so I noticed the guy's Captain Paleon. I think he factors into the Hair of Empire. I'll have to see. Old legend storyline. I know there's an older Imperial guy that is kind of working against Thrawn. So we'll see how that plays out. If this older guy here plays a major factor in what's coming in Ahsoka and the film, Filoni's film. Grand Admiral Thrawn is missing. Any word on when he will participate? I love their barbs against each other because they know goddamn well that motherfuckers clones for Gideon. It's like how is your shit going? Oh, my shit's going badly. I had my stuff destroyed by. Never mind that. How's your stupid shit going? Oh, my stupid shit sucks. So, anyways, I love that Gideon is doing these power plays to kind of fill the Thrawn void. That's good. And they need to stamp out the Mandos now. This is how he's getting the remnant forces to rally around him. And he requests some Royal Guard and some additional interceptors and bombers. And they don't do the stupid thing, we're not going to give it to you. They said, yeah, you're right. Let's do it. So, cool. And honestly, thank you. I actually, this is the most obvious choice, but I read too much into the leaks and rumors and stuff. That would have been fucking stupid where he gets Mandos as, he gets Imperial reinforcements. That's the least stupid of his choices.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is they set up the fact, like, when our favorite X-Wing pilot goes and he sees Beskar, he's like, the Mandalorian. It's like, no, it's just a fucking medal, you idiot. Like, that scene poisoned so much because everyone uses Beskar. Cobb Vanth was running around in Beskar armor. Everyone's trading in Beskar to hire hitman jobs. It's like that scene kind of ruined a whole lot. I think it was trying to lead people in the wrong direction, but it was really stupid, and they didn't need it.
Live the Empire. I'm back. Mando fleet to Navarro. And so that kind of plot line was a little bit on the side of things. They didn't really need land there because we knew they were eventually going to go to Mandalore itself.
They just need a little rally point.
They need to pick up the mech suit.
They had to pick up the dang
That's
mech
right.
suit. Tell us about the mech suit, Joe.
The IG-11 now enhanced to an IG-12, where what are those things? It's not. Babu.
Yeah, IG-12.
It's not Babu.
Yeah, well,
it's
it
a
was-
different one.
It's Babu Freak's cousin, all right?
Yeah. He starts coming in. He's like, "All right, I made this for you." It's like, "No, we can't have Grogu do it." No, Grogu jumps in. He's
Yeah.
like, "Yes.
He can
yes,
talk. Babu Freak's cousin gets out and says, "Bad baby, no
Yes."
squeeze."
No squeeze.
And Grogu gets in and he starts talking. I think it is, you know what? On paper, when I read the leaks and stuff, I was like, I fucking hate this. Here, I think it's a clever solution.
I don't hate it,
It's a clever
but I don't
solution.
love it.
I don't love it, and I don't hate it. Yeah.
I'm
I got
right
it.
now like it was kind of getting annoying like already because he's like yes.
That one
They
scene
should
was not
have
that
reduced
scene,
it a
yeah.
little
That
bit.
scene was
Yeah.
not-
But he's a baby. They're trying to be like he's a baby, and we're having a little adolescence fight here. But it's a good solution, and no talking yet from Grogu. So apparently, and it sells more toys. Even though I wish maybe a little bit better, cooler looking unit than an IG unit.
Yeah.
Maybe an HK unit. Oh, sweet. Gets an upgrade later. Anyway, Grogu. So apparently the birds, the Mandos show up. The other Mandos show up. We get a little face off, and then she's like, "Don't worry, let's have a feast."
How do you have a feast if you can't take your helmet off? You're just sitting and watch me eat? That's super fucking weird. You know, because you can't even do that. You have to leave the room. You have to leave the room. I thought you can't.
You can do that. So apparently, the birds weren't going to be used for mounts for flight because that would have been stupid. Instead, they were used for delicious meat. Well done. I am legitimately saying well
Hey,
done.
these taste like the Mando children they've been eating.
That's how you subvert. That's how you subvert expectations. And yeah, it's stupid, but they corrected the stupid, and we're just going to eat meat, and perfect. So Bo suggests it's time to take the homeworld speech. And so there's some flaws here and there in this episode. This is one of them. No one volunteers, which makes no sense. I mean, all some of the Mandos should be excited about going back to Mandalore.
It was the whole plan.
The whole fucking
point for
but
them.
they have to have the I am Spartacus.
You have my
no, I
sword.
am Spartacus.
My
You
axe.
have my axe, right? They have to have that scene. So we get no volunteers. Then Jajarin volunteers first. He volunteers Grogu. Grogu's like, no. Yes. And the wrestler lady says that she will go too, along with axe wolves and more. Finally, the armorer says she will go as well. So the fleet leaves for Mandalore. And right about here, I'm really happy with the visuals and the fleet, and just gotta admit, great episode. Great episode is what I'm saying. Scouting party. She's got a plan. We're gonna land with the scouting party, then we're gonna bring everybody else. But the scouting party, encounters Mandalorians already on the surface of the planet. I know. I mean, it's just technical. It's just nitpicks, but I'd like to see a transition. You know those famous Star Wars wipes? Use them. A famous Star Wars wipe would have been like 2 days later, and they're searching, and then they see a skiff. They're like, "What is that in the distance?" They've been searching for 2 days. That makes sense. Not we land on the planet. Let's go to let's go in this direction. Oh shit! There's Mandos here the whole fucking time.
Don't know what the fuck is going on the planet.
Right. It's just a little too convenient.
And then there's one line. It's like, hey, we saw a plane come down. We've seen so much more activity. We were wondering,
Yeah, say
have you guys
something.
all come back? Something like that.
I
That
was
kind of
hoping
makes
for that.
for something, because then later on, it's like, wait a minute, you got a huge, like a big civilization. Well, not big. You got
you would have seen the Empire.
Yeah, you would have seen something, and they have no ways to communicate. They're like, hey, we've been trying to get a hold of people. We're stuck here. Totally makes sense that they would know that some fuckery's afoot.
Yes.
So loyalists to Bo-Katan and the Night Owls are still there. It's kind of stupid.
I heard that voice. It's like, no, you didn't.
But
It's been too long.
I
Shut
know,
up.
right? Shut the fuck up. But I loved their designs.
Yeah.
I actually like this leader. He looks like a badass. I like that actor. Bo-Katan comes clean. We get a reveal. She fucking surrendered. This honestly should disqualify her from leadership from the Mandalorians, but they're gonna get over it because it was.
She's doing
Frankly,
it to
they
save
were
her
already
people.
defeated. They were already
Yes.
defeated. True. So, but she surrendered to Moff Gideon, disarming to spare her cities and people, and that's how he got the Darksaber. Okay, cool. Like it. Like that reveal, like that explanation. But he betrayed her anyway and glassed the fucking planet. The purge of Mandalore was her responsibility in a way. No, he's going to do it anyway.
He was gonna do it
He's going to do it anyway. I'm just fucking with y'all. So Armorer is former Death Watch, we learn. It kind of explains her horns. I hope it's Rook. That would be cool. But I don't think she's ever taken her helmet off. I don't want her to take her helmet off. But I like that they explain, yes, we were Death Watch. There were a lot of factions. We started fighting amongst ourselves. Death Watch is no more.
Yeah. Are you Death Watch? Nah, maybe. Shut the fuck up. And then it's just like, oh, okay. Don't,
didn't really
don't
wanna-
ask Lady Moon
I
questions.
didn't really want to shave these down.
Yeah.
So,
I
Bo,
like 'em.
Bo is tired of their division, basically, of the Mandalorians. He's like, when we're together, we're strong. Nobody can take us out. But we've always been divided, and look at what happened. We got taken out. So, her and Mandalorian have a talk, and then we get my queen, and she goes, Jon Snow, you know nothing.
Bend the knee.
It just sucks that Game of Thrones has ruined this for me, because it's just they fucked up, and their fuck up was so colossal that it leaks on over into other franchises when it shouldn't. But that's kind of what happens here, my queen. But it makes sense. She's the leader, and he supports her, and hurrah. I like this scavenger Mando leader I wrote here. He looks cool. Seems like a good leader. So they're riding around the dunes or the fucking glass surface and glass in this cool skiff. And Paz and Wolves fight over goddamn game rules. Hey, Alex, it's AJ's table time. I fucking loved it. Motherfucking Wolves is a goddamn rules lawyer. I fucking knew it. And then Paz is like,
He's like Google en passant, bro.
you want to fucking fight about it? You want to Rochambeau me for it? And I liked it. Grogu stops him.
Yeah, I didn't like the fight. It just seemed forced, and I didn't like the way Grogu stopped them either. I think this was exactly the right time where Grogu just lifts both of their asses up in the air and goes, "No."
That'd have been so much better film instead of like stop.
Yeah.
No.
No.
I guess he can't press a button, but yeah, he could press a button.
Well, because
No.
a lot of Mandalorians
Perfect.
are like, "There's a child in a robot.
Why didn't you
is there
film that?
Why is there a child in a robot?" And it's like, "Oh shit, he can do that."
Yeah.
Now we listen because Mando's kind of listen to strength. Obviously, they're about to have a fight, but I disagree. I do think that there will be some sort of cultural differences in divisions and fights. Because that's just their
bound to
culture.
happen.
So the mythosaur appeared. No,
No, it wasn't.
no. It was a beast. Some kind of beast appears. Big dinosaur breaks their whole fucking ship. We lose a few Mandos. Really cool, visually spectacular. Tons and tons of Mandalorians. They're not cheaping out anymore, and I'm thankful for it. Randomly, somebody says, we need to go further down because the plot says so and the pacing demands it. And they just so happen to be right there where they needed to go the whole time.
Ambush.
And then, ambush. Imperials wearing Beskar armor attacks. Great action and numerous high-quality costumes and sequences. The Imperials were mining Beskar the whole time, and they have a base. Cool as fuck. These Dark Troopers are in retreat. Love the tactics. Aha, we sprung a trap. We got our asses kicked, but we led you into a bit of a trap. Here's our base, and you are now captured with closing the door. They cut off Din Djarin from the rest, and this is when we get the reveal. Comes in his black armor, black and red, looks fucking cool. I don't know, I guess because the reflections, I can't really kind of get a good look at it. It looks a little off too, a little too high, but I think if I could look at it better in better light, it would be fucking sweet. He's got little horns on it too, so little inspired by the Death Watch Maul forces and Imperial stuff, commandos. But why he's got horns, I don't really know because I don't think he cares about Maul or anything.
I just thought it was cool. Yeah.
I think it's cool too, red and black. So finally, he basically reveals his evil plan and captures the Mando. And he's been using Mandalorian for his own means. Activate the bombers. We're going to purge the fleet. We're going to finish our job. Good. Surrender the saber to me. And Bo-Katan says, fuck you.
He's like, you can't fool me twice, or
Fool me
can
once.
you?
Or can you?
Or can you?
Bo, no.
Damn it, that's why we don't give it to you.
The Mandos fight, and then Paz Vizsla covers them. As soon as he said, I'll cover you, I was like, motherfucker's dead. I'll cover you.
He's just fucking wiping them down.
It's like, where were you before? You just killed like 40 people.
He killed a bunch before, too.
Yeah, but he by himself with no, like, just out in the open.
You're
with
clear.
No cover. You're clear.
There's too many of them.
I'm going to kill more of them.
He said, there's too many of them. I got to
He
stay
could have
behind.
turned around, took some shots. Door would have shut. It'd been fine. What else?
Din gets taken away. We know that a Mandalorian escaped through a crack in the ceiling. He jumped out through the crack, and he's going to run to the ship, and he's going to take the ship out into space, because he can't jetpack into space.
No.
And so he's going to have to take the however many day journey to run, or I guess he can maybe jetpack there. But he's going to try to give them some early warning, to prepare their fleet so they're just not completely obliterated.
After Paz has a fight with those red...
The Praetorians come out.
Damn. After he has the fight, Alex says, the Red Praetorians come out. Let's start there. So, I think we all agree that Paz didn't really need to die, or if he did need to die and get a glorious, heroic death, then maybe it could have been filmed slightly better.
Yeah, you have him get shot in the leg and he can't run away. Like, have a bridge collapse between them, have him not be able to fit through a crack in the wall. It's been done a million fucking times. How did you fuck up a trope? Like, you fucked up a basic trope so fucking bad. That, and I'm rooting for this show because at this point, I was like, all right, I guess I really like all this stuff that's happening. But you just, I don't know.
The leg thing would have been best.
If it was like Rick, if it's Rick's job, then you fucked it up, Rick.
This is the way, he says, and he dies.
Yeah.
Well, actually, he doesn't die. He wins. He actually wins. And
Until-
I'm like, yeah. And then the Royal Guards finally get their moment in Star Wars lore to shine. They kill his ass.
Fast. Like, fast. And then this was this felt appropriate. Because I was like, okay, he doesn't get any of his tools. His gun is overheated. He doesn't have anything cool. They immediately wiped the floor with him, and I thought that felt right.
Well done. Well done.
But unnecessary.
Yeah.
Visually, it was.
He's like, but you have a jetpack, and you could just like, there's a hole in the ceiling because they have the spaceships, and you could just go, and just go away because the guard don't have jetpacks. And he just forgot he had one.
Okay, so like I said, the Royal Guards finally get their moment to shine in Star Wars lore. We see why they're badass, and I'm glad that we got that because the choreography for The Last Jedi, if you examine it, is not quite.
Never seen that movie.
Oh well, don't worry about
You're missing out.
it. You're missing out.
Like Crystal Skull.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, so well done. Excited. Love the concept art at the end. Aside from a few pacing, issues and some tropiness that needed to be shored up a little
You
bit.
need the
doctored.
monster, but use this there for visual sake.
It's true, yeah.
don't need
It
it.
would have made sense if I would have excused it a little bit more if it was the Mythosaur. We were going a little different direction with it, but it's.
Or again, the Mandos that were there is like there's been some activity. It was.
I think they're just trying to show how
here,
dangerous
something.
the surface is, and that they need all hands on deck to tame the planet. And fuck, now we need to deal with the Empire. We'll get to taming this later. But yeah, well done. So guys, that's it. What did you think? Are you still on the Mando is a garbage and it's a garbage fire and I hate it from here on because of Jack Black and Lizzo? Are you still on that kick? Or can you admit when we're back on track now and we are a little skeptical? Can we stay on track now, please? Can Disney actually take some motherfucking feedback? As long as Kathleen Kennedy is in charge, doubling down, I don't think so. I do think Dave and John are more receptive to taking feedback, and I think John, maybe his pride might be hurt a little bit. He did write all of this, and he is partially he is responsible for season 3. So hopefully he takes that to heart and incorporates it into season 4 because it does kind of shake us a little bit. Next up is Dave Filoni's project, Ahsoka, and it's looking really good in comparison. So he's got to step up his game on Mando if we want to make this work. We'll see in the final episode, right, guys? We'll give you the final episode next week, and the series.
It better be an hour.
3, yeah.
It better be an hour.
I want an hour.
Best I can do 35 minutes.
No.
Better not.
If it's under.
Got to be at least as long as this one, and then I'll be all right.
Yeah.
But you
It's
go
under
shorter
40,
than this
no.
one. All right, guys. We'll see you on the next Angry Joe Show.
Bye,
Bye,
guys.
guys.